All right, biology. Here is our last lesson, lecture 3, as far as this unit goes. Biodiversity. First off, it's helpful to define the word, right? Bio means what? Life. And diversity means differences, right? And so we're talking about, the differences, the accumulation of differences in life, okay? And so here's our objectives. You have to know the 3 different types of biodiversity. You need to know why it's important and what are the direct and indirect values of biodiversity. I mean, yeah, it's valuable, okay? And so I'll show you some introduction videos in class, of course. So biodiversity is the variety of life in an area, okay? And so biodiversity, why is it important? It increases the stability of an ecosystem and the health of our entire planet, okay? Of course, when that stability is not happening, for various factors, extinction can occur when the last member of a species dies. There's 3 different types: ecosystem, species, and genetic diversity. So genetic diversity, let's start, in the beginning. DNA, of course, we're talking about genetics and genes. And genes usually, for our purposes in introductory biology, encode for proteins, okay? And so genetic diversity is the variety of genes in a population. So if you pretend like, I know I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself as far as topics go, but if you pretend like there's a big gene pool, how many different genes are in that pool for, let's say, a certain location in our genome, okay? And the more differences there are, usually, obviously, the better ability, the species has a better ability to survive when the environment changes, okay? So we have different, differences are good when it comes to genetic diversity, okay? Species diversity is the number of species and relative abundance of each species and biological community, the species diversity. So you can see right here, number of bird species, not very many, way far up north, right? But as you travel down south towards the equator, we're talking like a ton in Central America, okay? And so you could start asking yourself some questions like, why is that the case? Hopefully you get to maybe some sort of responses involving, climate and resources. Oh, missed that R. Resources. And then ecosystem diversity is the variety of ecosystems that are present in the biosphere, okay? So an ecosystem is made up of interacting populations and the abiotic factors that support them, okay? And so they all have a play, right? And so genetic diversity is the different DNA and genes in a population. And then those populations all make up species diversity in an area. And then species diversity can make up different types of, contribute to ecosystem diversity, okay? Why is biodiversity important? Well, it's invaluable. Ooh, let's go back. It's invaluable. Let's do a different color. Get bored. Oh yeah, Ava's favorite color is purple. So, contribution, medicine and agriculture. There's goods and services that ecosystems provide humanity. Also, the ability for organisms to survive. We want to be good stewards of God's created world. And so direct economic value. Humans depend on plants and animals for food, clothing, energy, and medicine. Most of the world's food crops only come from just a few species. So wild species serve as reservoirs of desirable genetic traits, okay, that can maybe make commercial crop species more resilient or actually add maybe nutritional value. Scientists continue to find new extracts that treatment. Yeah, lots of medicines come from plants and other organisms. It's important to protect these species. Indirect, a healthy biosphere provides many services. Of course, oxygen, yay for living. Natural processes provide drinking water, yay for living again. And then it's often difficult to assign an economic value to biosphere. I mean, you could look up some estimations, I think online. Like I saw trillions of dollars one time, if we had to create oxygen making machines and all that. Many medicines were first discovered in wild species. I mean, when you eat potatoes, look at all the different potatoes there are. I mean, usually we eat like white or red or sweet. but like there's so many varieties, right? And so it's very important. Another reason why this is important is because it leads to resilience. Resilience describes a natural or human system's ability to recover after a disturbance. So you could talk about yourself. Do you have high resilience or low resilience? Okay. And there's ways to train yourself and ways to seek God's will and God's word to increase resilience. But the more biodiversity an ecosystem has, the more resilient it is likely to be. So let's look at this picture for a second. So you can see right here, red species and yellow species. Okay. A diverse ecosystem leads to, notice how there's no spaces, right, in the diverse ecosystem. And notice how yellow and red never completely fade away. Yes, they increase and decrease in number, but they never fade away, okay? And then notice when wet year and dry years happens without species diversity, there's a lot of empty spaces, and that could be missing food, that could be lower resources. It's all sorts of different things could happen there. And then here is our last slide. And so ecosystem services and biodiversity, of course, water and mangroves. We have mangroves in Pinellas County. It protects from tropical shorelines from erosion. Okay, pollination. These are our friends. Regulating pests. Many species of birds and bats eat insects that are dangerous to humans. Okay, food production. Ocean areas provide large, groups of fish to hunt, and to fish for, and for humans to, eat. Nutrient cycling is important because bacteria and fungi, take up nitrogen, fix it into organic compounds. And then soil structure. Detritivores and other soil organisms aerate the soil, which means make it richer and get nutrients and prevent it from being too compacted. Get some air into there. Bacteria, also, as well as leaf litter, produce humus, which makes the soil rich and able to grow crops. And so biodiversity, knowing that and knowing why it's important is the goal of this lecture, okay? I know it's a lot shorter than the other two, but thank you so much again for watching it. I know you don't have a choice because it's an assignment. I mean, you do have a choice, but if you did watch it, thank you so much for watching it, and I hope it was beneficial.